everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Poems and Stories. We're going to go ahead and read the third story in this book. Again, we are still on 5th grade. Title of the story is The Little Friction Match. In olden times, it was the custom to roll lamplighters out of paper, for matches were very highly priced. Today, matches are made so cheaply that we hardly give them a thought. Part 1. How matches were made in early days. I remember being once 10 miles from a store and 1 mile from a neighbor. The fire had gone out in the night, and the last match failed to blaze. We had no flint and steel. We were neither Indians nor Boy Scouts, and we did not know how to make a fire by twirling a stick. There was nothing to do but to tramp through the snow to the neighbor a mile away and beg some matches. Then was the time when we appreciated the little match and thought with deep respect of the men who invented and perfected it. It is a long way from the safe and reliable match of today back to the splinters that were dipped in chemicals and sold, together with little boxes of sulfuric acid. The splinter was expected to blaze when dipped into the acid. Sometimes it did blaze, and sometimes it did not. But it was reasonably certain, however, the acid would behave, for it would always sputter and do its best to spoil one's clothes. Even such matches as these were thought of as a wonderful convenience and were sold at $5 a hundred. With the next kind of match that appeared, a piece of folded sandpaper was sold, and the buyer was told to pinch it hard and draw the match through the fold. These matches were amazingly cheap, 84 of them for only 25 cents. There have been all sorts of odd matches. One kind actually had a tiny glass ball on the end full of sulfuric acid. To light this, you had to pinch the ball, and the acid that was thus let out acted upon the other chemicals on the match and lighted it, or was expected to light it. Making matches is a big business. Even if 100 of them are sold for a cent, it is estimated that each person used about 7 matches every day. To provide so many, there would be needed some 700 million matches a day in this country alone. It seems like a very simple matter to cut a splinter of wood, dip it into some chemicals, and pack it into a box for sale. It would be simple if it were all done by hand, but the matches would also be irregular and very expensive. The way to make anything cheap and uniform is to manufacture it by machinery. Part 2. How matches are made today. The first step in making friction matches is to select good white pine planks and cut them into blocks of the right size. These are fed into a machine called the splinter cutter, which sends sharp knives through them and thus cuts the match splinters. Over this splinter cutter is a carrier chain, which is moving all the time, and into holes in this chain the ends of the match splinters are forced at the rate of 10 or 12,000 a minute. The splinters, or splints, remain in the chain for about an hour, and during this hour all sorts of things happen to them. First, they are dipped into hot paraffin wax, because this will light even more easily than wood. As soon as the wax is dry, the busy chain carries them over a dipping roll covered with a layer of glue and rosin. Currents of air now play upon the splints, and in about 10 minutes, the glue and rosin on one end of it have hardened into a ball. It is not a match yet by any means, for scratching it would not make it light. The phosphorus which is to make it into a match is on another dipping roll. This is a special kind of phosphorus. The common yellow phosphorus is poisonous, and workmen in match factories where it was used were in great danger. At length, it was found that this special form of phosphorus would make just as good matches and was harmless. Our largest match company held the patent giving them the right to make this special phosphorus, and this patent they generously gave to the people of the United States. After the splints have been dipped into the phosphorus, they are carried about on the chain, sometimes vertically, sometimes horizontally, on the outside of some wheels and the inside of others, and through currents of air. Then they are turned over to chain divided into sections, which carry them into a packing machine. This machine packs them into boxes, a certain number in each box. They then slide down to girls who make the boxes into packages. Those packages are put into wooden containers and are now ready for sale. As in most manufacturing, these processes must be carried out with great care. The wood must be carefully selected, and the different dipping rolls must be kept covered with a fresh supply of glue and rosin, or phosphorus, always uniform in amount. Even the currents of air in which the splints are dried must be just warm enough to dry them and just moist enough not to dry them too fast. A match is a little thing, but nothing else can do its work. Eva March Tappan. Thank you for listening to today's story. Please check back with me tomorrow and we will read the fourth story in this segment. Again, I want to remind everyone that I am reading these verbatim, so any inappropriate words or phrases that are chosen are just as they are printed, and they do not reflect my personal or political opinions. Reminder that this book was printed in 1930, so it is pretty much guaranteed to have some inappropriate content by today's standards. As a reminder, if you do book restorations and are interested in restoring any of the books that are featured on this channel, please reach out to me. I would be happy to discuss that with you. Thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. If you have not already, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.